This is an Athearn Bluebox F2, which has a Marx shell swapped onto it, and today I'm going to be trying to restore it. So before that, let me just give it a little test run, show you what it's doing, and then we will get straight into it. Alright, so I've got the unit set up. Let me give it a little test run for you. This is also full power, by the way. I don't know how well it comes across on camera, but this thing is really slow and sluggish, and it could definitely use some good work, so let's get to it. Alright, to start I'm just going to take the shell off. I usually use an engine cradle, but with these F units you really don't need to. What's interesting here is that these are soldered on, so I'm going to heat up my soldering iron and I'm just going to remove both of those for now, because it'll make working on this thing a whole lot easier. While that's heating up, I'm going to clean off the commutator, because that's something easy I can get to from here. Alright, that looks pretty clean. Now I'm just going to give it a few drops of oil here. And I'm going to put a little bit of it on the commutator, which I know a lot of people don't like doing, but I've tried it out on a whole bunch of Bluebox engines without any real issues, as long as I keep them running for the most part, which I usually do. So I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on there. It just makes the thing run quieter and usually a little bit smoother. I think by now I should be able to unsolder both of these trucks. And now I can get straight into taking these trucks apart. I will get both of them off the frame, but I'm only going to completely tear down one truck at a time, because that'll make it a lot more manageable, make it a lot harder to lose parts. These also like to fly into the oblivion, if you couldn't tell from just then. Honestly, this truck really doesn't feel bad, but I don't think any fresh oil is going to hurt it. And the other cover flew onto the floor, which is always fun. So those can sit off to the side. This truck also is really free-rolling, but anyway, I'll get in there and I'll clean these trucks out. To get them apart first, there's more clips that like to fly off. I've got one right on the top here, if you can see it. And then you've got the big plate on the bottom. Usually I find it's easiest to remove one of these at a time. It's the exact same as the Proto 2000 truck design, which I just got 2 new units of, which hopefully are out by now. If not, they'll be out in a video coming really soon. And in here, it really does not look all that bad. I've definitely seen much, much worse. This is really tame and clean compared to a lot of the other stuff I've seen. So I think to start, I'm just going to clean off these plastic pieces. Even though they don't really need it all that much, I'd just rather do it so I don't have to think about it again later. Then I'll get these casings, the gears, and the wheels. It's really not bad. There's not all that much of anything in here. I've definitely seen much worse. This might be one of the cleaner engines I've taken apart, too. Alright, now I'm going to take a split-second break, then I'll come back and clean off the wheels. Next up, we've got the worm gear and worm gear cover for this truck to clean up, which again are really not all that bad. And then I believe I can just give everything in here some fresh oil and we can put it all back together. And then I'll get out my actual grease and finish it off with the worm gear. It's rolling really nicely. Let me get out some grease here and we can put the whole worm gear back on. And then we can go about dealing with the next truck. I'm pretty sure this truck went on the front. If I get it wrong, all I'm going to do is end up wiring it backwards. So it's not the worst in the world if it's wrong. Get a screwdriver to work some of that grease in, which probably I just dealt with off camera. Good enough. I forgot to mention that unlike the newer blue boxes, these don't have any of these type of bearings on the actual trucks, which makes it a lot easier to put back together, honestly. Although the bearings just seemed a little bit better overall. These worm gear covers are still annoying, though, on all of them. Give both those bearings a little bit of oil. Then I will take a brief little break and I'll come back and do the front truck. All right, now it's time for me to do the exact same thing to the rear truck, except hopefully a little bit better this time. And hopefully with less talking. So this will probably be really quick paced unless something comes up that I want to talk about. Alright, now that that is completely put back together, and actually quite quickly it got completely put back together, I have to resolder the wires once my soldering iron heats up. Honestly, this has gone so much better than I was expecting, compared to the restoration that I just filmed, which, if you haven't seen it, it came out a couple of days ago. It's about the Tycho Chattanooga. Everything went wrong on that one, and this is a very nice contrast to that. So, I'm going to hope my soldering iron has now heated up enough. It's been heating up for the past couple minutes. And I'm going to just try and see if I can resolder these wires back on with relative ease. Alright, I think that wiring's done. This engine does not have a light on it currently. I probably don't really have any plans to put one on, but now this thing should be completely back together, so I can throw the shell back onto it. Let's try that the correct way. Put the shell back onto it. Get that side to snap into place. And then we can go test this thing out. Alright, so I've got the engine all set back up on the track, and I am still not sure if I wired it the correct way. If I did, I'll fix it off camera, but let me give this thing a little test run. And that's actually really smooth compared to how it was earlier. And this is only at about half power. So I think I'm happy with that. If it is backwards, I'm just going to fix it really quickly off camera, but that'll do it for this video. Thanks for watching.